Alright, so we're going to discuss the difference between an eyepiece and a C-mount scope. So during the procedure, when the doctor has an eyepiece scope, obviously he takes the coupler, clips the scope right in, and then during an arthroscopy procedure with the irrigation and everything, there's a lot of water flowing in and out throughout the scope and the coupler. So just to kind of compare, when the surgeon takes the scope and the camera and under the irrigation and everything, when he goes up, and this is basically what he's seeing with all the irrigation. Now when we take the scope out, we can obviously see all the water that's on there on the eyepiece, and when we unclip it, we see that water gets on both the eyepiece and the coupler. So what the surgeon will have to do is keep unclipping the scope, putting it back on, wiping it off and everything, and then keep putting it back on. So the procedure is obviously going to take a little longer than it should usually. Now, the difference that we see with a C-mount scope is that the coupler screws right into the eyepiece of the scope. So there's no need for that little clip-on coupler. So when the pump is being used, so when the pump's being used, and there's all that water during the procedure, and you go back and you put the scope into focus, it looks a lot better. Now there's no need for the surgeon to unclip the scope and everything, take off the coupler, wipe the scope down, and clip it back on, because there's no water that's going to get on the camera head or the eyepiece of the scope. That's good. I'm done.